the earth, among all its wonders, we humans are born into unfairness, where one is born into the power, into wealth, and the other one into poverty, where one can work their whole life, not getting to experience even a fraction of pleasures and luxury those on top get to experience daily. We are born into inevitable misery. Every one of us will experience pain and suffering, be it physical or mental, be it disease or losing someone you love. And after all those highs and downs of life, death. Well, according to certain gentlemen with big beautiful moustache, there is no point. And because it's inherently meaningless, we ourselves should find and define the meaning of life, whatever it would be. With this approach, we have two options on how to face our existence. First one is to live to the fullest every single day, despite, or maybe because of our inevitable fate, so-called carpe diem. Or maybe we can just give up. But what if we choose to believe there's something more? Hope. Hope that all this suffering and trials we endure have some kind of meaning. Hope that there is something beyond death, in afterlife. To believe in some kind of higher power, perhaps a god. It all sounds nice on paper, like a fairy tale with happy ending. But after reading it, reality kicks in. You are alone with your own thoughts. Whispers of doubts arise. Do we really have to blindly believe? Atheists love asking, where's the proof God actually exists? And that's totally valid question to ask, but since we cannot rely shit on anyone other than ourselves, because everyone deep inside is as much of a mess as you and me, we must change the question. How can I prove to myself God exists? Since science cannot prove or disprove that God exists, and you don't want to believe in a book that was written thousands of years ago, how else you can answer this question? Well, to do this we will use logic. You've probably heard about ghosts, right? What if you could experience some kind of paranormal activity firsthand and prove to yourself ghosts are real? Wouldn't that experience imply a god is very likely to be real as well? You could, for example, go on a wholesome date with your partner to the haunted place in your area and use a Ouija board. Surely nothing will happen, right? Of course, you can always go explore alone. At night. Doesn't that sound like a nice time? However, if you really don't want to go on an adventure to the abandoned haunted place, because you are afraid of potential crazy hobo living inside, or perhaps some kind of wild animal, I guess ghosts videos on YouTube will have to suffice. Of course, we both know 95% of those videos are fake, so you will have to use your brain and judge for yourself whether it is fake or not. But if you are too lazy to even do that, then I might as well give you one example to at least intrigue and push you to make your own little ghost investigations. So, have you already noticed what's wrong with this picture? I'll give you a few more seconds. What about this grey gentleman standing on the side of the road? He looks so weird, so out of place in this scene. Something is definitely off about him. Some of you will ask what's so special about this image. It's clearly photoshopped. Well, this image originated from the regional news publication and was posted in the same day, probably hours after the incident. Mind you, the crash happened at 4 p.m, so there was not that much time for a local publication to actually Photoshop the image and post the news in the same day. Why would anyone do something like that in the first place, right? It just doesn't make sense. What's more, error level analysis doesn't show any major inconsistencies, so it is very unlikely for the image to be altered. So maybe it's just a normal, real person after all? Fortunately, this is not the only image taken from the scene. Random bystanders also took photos, so we can analyze the crash from the multiple perspectives, and maybe find our ghost culprit there. Again, the same figure. That must be a real person, right? But why is he just standing ominously while all people around him are doing something? Is it a real ghost or a random person? It is for you to decide. I hope this little investigation of mine actually intrigued you and gave you the reason to make your own research into the subject, whether it is only by watching ghost videos or actually going out to a haunted place, trying to experience this in person. Now, the next logical step to ask is, if the ghosts were indeed real, then why wouldn't they go to heaven or hell accordingly, and instead are stuck here on Earth? To answer this question, we must understand that paranormal activities are quite rare phenomenon, especially when you will take to consideration billions of people who have died throughout the ages. That means billions upon billions of potential ghosts and paranormal activities. But that's not the case in reality, right? The most common explanations people give as to why spirit of a person might remain earthbound: some kind of unfinished business that they can't let go of, or an attachment to a person or thing. There may be the case person died so unexpectedly that they don't know they are dead. They might think they are still alive, which is kind of scary if you think about it. Imagine you are an atheist who just died, and you realize this is not the end, and now you either deny the new reality you found yourself in, or you accept it, but you are too afraid to move on because you fear the judgment of a higher power. And the last one is that this is not a conscious spirit of a person, but some kind of energetic imprint left behind after death. Why it's so important to us? Because whether you like it or not, we all will die one day. And so, instead of denying the possibility of an afterlife, you should strive to ask, what if it's all true? What if it's me who will spend an eternity wandering the earth as a ghost, because I am too afraid to move on and be judged by a higher power? What if God is indeed real? What if I will go to hell for all eternity because I was too stupid to ask myself one simple, what if? Do you see how being an atheist is unreasonable and plainly dumb when you put it this way? Instead of outright denying the existence of a God, you should strive for the truth, to question the reality, to experience it yourself instead of relying on others when asking where's the proof God exists. And the next thing we will discuss is exactly that. I'm talking about lucid dreaming and astral projection. There's possibility this is the first time you've actually heard those terms, so let me quickly explain. Lucid dreaming is when you are aware that you are dreaming, that you are inside of a dream and have full control over it. As for astral projection, it is when your consciousness is leaving your physical body, and then you get to explore different plane of existence, so-called astral realm. I know exactly how insane this sounds if you hear about this for the first time in your life. I was there too, trust me. But then I decided to give it a shot, and in the first week of trying, I managed to have my first lucid dream. I remember saying to myself in that dream, hold on, something isn't right. I was inside some kind of weird house with white walls I've never been to my whole life. Then I looked at my hands and they got distorted a bit. I screamed, completely shocked. After this I woke up. This experience completely changed my perspective on life and gave me the insight how stupid and clueless people really are. So many people saying lucid dreaming is not a real thing, all while I just experienced it, and it felt as real as when I'm fully awake. Don't take what other people say for granted. Question every single little thing people say. And so I did. The next thing I've heard about is out-of-body experience, so-called astral projection. The idea you can leave your own body with your consciousness. How unreal this sounds, am I right? After 17 lucid dreams or so, I've had my first real astral projection. The feeling of separation from my physical body felt so unreal. I think every human being should at least experience this once. And by the way, on the side note, after hundreds of astral projections thus far, I've never really encountered angels or something that would directly link to existence of a god, but I've never really tried to search for them specifically, so maybe it's skill issue on my part. However, I did encounter some kind of weird entities, and maybe what could be classified as demons once or twice, but that's it. What I usually do in astral projection is just exploring and walking around without clear purpose, just for fun. I strongly encourage you not to depend on my testimony, but to try out yourself both lucid dreaming and astral projection, and ignore what people are saying, that astral projection is not a real thing, that if anything it's just a lucid dream. Here atheism comes in because the sheer idea of astral projection directly challenges their beliefs. Let me explain. If you can leave your own body with consciousness, that means death is not really the end, because after your body dies, your consciousness simply leaves, and that can directly lead to existence of some kind of spiritual realm, and in the end, of the God. I'm fully convinced people who are saying astral projection is just a lucid dream have never actually had astral projection, let alone lucid dream even once in their lifetime. To me, personally, after hundreds upon hundreds, both lucid dreams and astral projections that I've had over the years, the idea that they are the same is simply ridiculous to me. It's like atheists are trying to gaslight me that the grass is in fact red instead of it being green just because they've heard it from the books. But the real truth is, they've never dared to actually go outside to touch and experience the grass for themselves, because they're either too lazy or too comfortable living in their bubble to face the reality. Then it finally clicked. I realized atheists simply don't want to know the truth, that they can't cope with the reality that there is in fact something after death, because that would invalidate their whole lifestyle of caring only about money, career, and sexual gratification, lifestyle of prioritizing earthly desires and themselves over something so abstract to them, like a god, lifestyle of ignoring the fact that with each passing second, the body they are born with slowly deteriorates, rots, the mind gradually declines. Lifestyle of ignoring one undeniable truth. Who knows what tomorrow might bring? Life is so unpredictable. So many things can happen that are out of our control. I don't know what you're going through today, but you're still alive, and that's what matters. You still have time to find the truth on your own terms by using your own brain and your own experience, instead of blindly believing in something simply because other people tell you to do so, be it religion or atheism, and you still have time to reach your own conclusions about the true meaning of life.
I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. So I hated life, because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Everything is meaningless.